Hey, what's going on? This is Louis Angel with AE Mind, and I have with us here this is actually the first episode of this new series that I'm starting up called Learning Pros, where I interview learning professionals. So thank you so much, Yusnier, for being on this first episode of Learning Pros.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Luis, for inviting me for this Learning Pro show. I hope it's a success. I'm going to do my best from my side.
You're going to be amazing, man. I already know it. I can see it. All right, so Yusnier, we were both on this small show called Superhuman. It's actually pretty big, man. Millions of people tuned in. They saw you do an incredible feat of really just mathematics and also some memory as well. We'll get into that. We'll talk about the show, how that was for you, the journey, and how you even got into this field of math and breaking records as well. We'll get into all of that. But first of all, how's it out there in Miami right now?
Well, weather right now is kind of chilly. We're in the 70s. For us, that's chilly. You know how it is.
Yeah.
But before we start, I want to say you were very humble before, because you were the winner of that great show called Superhuman.
No,
So yeah, I'm glad that I met you there, and I'm glad I met other people.
You,
I think we did a great show, and we're gonna a great team anywhere we go. So here we are.
Yeah, thank you. And listen, at the end of the day, that anybody could have won that show. The fans, the audience decided that I was gonna be the winner. But listen, my vote would have been for you, Ron, like all these other top guys that were there. So we all just did our job on the show.
Congrats
to
you for that.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it was an honor to be there on the stage with you. So, Miami, man, you're out there. Originally, though, you're from Cuba,
yeah, I'm from
right?
Cuba. I was born and raised in Cuba, and I came to Miami 8 years ago when I was 25. I'm 33 now. So yeah, that from now on, I represent USA instead of Cuba in all the mental math competitions.
That's right, USA. Cool, man. So, and for those watching at home or listening, we did meet on this show, and Yusnier was telling me about how he kind of got into this field, and he's broken several world records in mental calendarism, right?
Yes, it's in mental calculation, especially in the category of mental calendars. Yes, which is pretty much you told me a date, and I tell you the day of the week. Right now, maybe not in 2-3 years, but right now I'm the fastest person in the earth that can do that.
Wow, that's incredible, man. That gives me the chills. Because a lot of people think, for those of us that were on the show, they think, okay, we have these superhuman skills, right? And we were born with these abilities to be able to do all these amazing things. However, yourself, just like me, and just like pretty much all the other people that were on this show, we all trained. We all learned how to be able to do the things that we can do, right? So I learned my memory stuff. You learn how to add things quickly and figure calendar dates very quickly. So talk to me about that. How was that process for you? And it's starting off in school, and how did you get into this field of mental calculations?
In my case, you're absolutely right. This is something that you're not born with. You just have to develop it. So actually, when I was 22, I didn't know how to calculate dates. Can we do like a quick demonstration? Can you tell me a date so I can show?
Yeah. So my birthday, August 11th, 1989.
That was a Friday. August 11, 1989 was a Friday. So pretty much what I do is a math formula in my head that I do it really fast, and I get the answer really quick. But this formula was unknown for me 11 years ago. I started doing this in 2004, actually almost 12 years ago. When it came to my attention, the Mental Calculation World Cup. This Mental Calculation World Cup is an event that we do every other year, and I knew since I was born that I was good with numbers. I just didn't know how to show it, and I noticed that this Mental Calculation World Cup was the best opportunity that I had at that point to prove myself against the best in the world. So I wanted to go. I was studying at the University of Havana back in Cuba in 2004. And I wanted to go to the competition, the first Mental Calculation World Cup. I couldn't go because I didn't have any money. Back then I was a student, but even later on I graduated and I was making $20 a month. So I knew that I would never have the money for those type of competitions. So I decided to break a record so I can bring someone else attention, and I did. And a year later, 2005, after practicing for a month, I was able to calculate 42 dates in 1 minute, breaking the previous record of 33 dates in 1 minute. That was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And after that, everything changed in my life. I mean, I got sponsors who invited me to the next Mental Collection World Cup in 2006. And after that, my life changed 180 degrees.
Man, that's an incredible, story right there. Of listen, you weren't doing that great well financially in Cuba, right? You weren't doing that great financially.
No,
You couldn't even go
I was.
do something that you wanted to do. So, and this was your way out. This was your way to the promised land, I guess.
For
right?
me, more than financially, which is of course one of the main things, but more than financially, it's about being happy. I love doing this, and the only way I have to do this is by having some financial opportunities, of course. So in Cuba, I didn't have that chance. I didn't have access to the internet the way I wanted. I didn't have access to these competitions unless I have the money. So I didn't want to depend on the sponsors my whole life, and I decided to emigrate. So that's a different thing, but it's because I wanted to be happy, and doing this, doing mental math, like I do every day, that's my life. So the best way was to come to this great country, which is USA, and here I am.
That's right. Right. And so you came here to America, and how was, did you find work right away when you got here? How was that, the process of integrating into, society out here from Cuba?
Okay, in that sense, I was kind of lucky. I must say that I had a good preparation in Cuba. I studied at the University of Havana. I studied computer science. I graduated with honors. I was summa cum laude, So I knew a little bit of computer science, and I was lucky for that because I'm telling you, once I arrived to Miami in 2007, at the end of 2007, I was able to find a job like 2-3 months later, and I was making a good salary. For me, it was a huge improvement from $20 a month to whatever, to what I got here. It's definitely a good improvement. So all I'm trying to say, my main point is that it's always good to study. It's always good to know a new thing. So it's about learning, and for me, that worked pretty well. So the transition was not bad, actually. Yeah, it was really good.
Okay, so now going back a little bit. So when you were a student, in the early years, right? Elementary school, I don't know what it is out there in Cuba.
Yeah, elementary school, same thing.
Elementary, middle school, high school. How were you like as a student? Were you able to always be able to, I think that you liked numbers from a young age. If not, you probably wouldn't be doing this now. But, how was it overall academically, your studies?
In my case, I must say that, yeah, I was kind of, I know it doesn't sound humble, but yeah, I was good at math. And I was good at all the stuff too. I mean, history, Spanish, because in Cuba we speak Spanish, and, all the stuff. So, yeah, I was pretty good at math. So numbers were something that were always, I would say a fixation for me, because I love numbers. So it's a fixation in a good way, because it's not I'm a little obsessed maybe, but in a good way. It's not that it's something negative in my life. It's actually very positive in my life, my love for numbers.
Yeah. Okay, so it's always been a love for numbers for you. Overall, you're doing pretty well academically.
Yes.
And now, what motivated you to excel in college? Once you got to university, what motivated you to excel in college? Because there's a lot of students that are going to be watching this, and maybe it's their first year, right? Or maybe they've been at it for a few years. Like myself, when I was in school, in college, I was struggling. That's why I kind of got into this field of memory, was because I was struggling, right? So if I would have been able to learn from somebody just like yourself that loves to learn, that loves to educate themselves, I would have done it much better. So how were you like in those early years of college, and how were you able to excel in college? I mean,
in my opinion, it's about having clear what makes you happy. We are all different. We think that this is good or this is bad, but we all want to be happy in some way, whatever happiness means to you. So in my case, I focused on that happiness, and for me, happiness was to have vision, to learn new things, because I wanted to get to a certain point in my life where I am right now, where I'm doing what I love. So what I love was numbers. So I realized that my best way of doing something for myself was to be good at it. I focused on that. I use most of my time, most of my hours doing this, not because I'm required to do this, because I love doing it, and why not? And if you can make some money out of it, I think that will, at least to me, that makes me very happy.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure, man.
So it's about it's about having the vision of what you like, what you love, and just try to focus on that vision, and go for it. Go for it. Never let anything to stop you. Just go ahead. A lot of people know that, but just a few people do it. So It's not only about saying that to you, it's also about taking action. And that's what I did.
So you took action. Now, what was that action for you? Let's go back, to when you were in school. Like, what were you doing on a regular basis to make sure that you got good grades? So you graduated with honors and all that. What made you? So you had the vision. You wanted to be happy and you loved doing this. But what was the actual, steps that you took on a daily basis to get you to having, these good grades in school?
Well, I always had the motivation I always have the thinking that by excelling in school or whatever you do or your job, excelling in life, that will put you anywhere you want. So in my case, school was my priority back then. Yeah. And I realized the best way for me to be happy is to show my skills at what I'm doing, in this case was studying. So I always use numbers everywhere I go. So when I was doing my math test, of course, I was excelling in those things. When I was doing my history test, I was trying to memorize all the history facts. I just try to do my best, and I'm the kind of person that even if I'm not the best, as long as I do the best I can do, I feel comfortable with that because it's about that. It's not about being the best in the world. It's about being the best you can be, and that's my mission. Right. Being the best I can be.
Okay, all right. So you were just constantly doing it, and then you were just focusing on being the best you that you can do while you were doing, say, your homework and all your other studies, right? Taking the test as well. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's fast forward a little bit. So you're here in America now. You've been on and you've won. You're a champion. Like, you congratulated me for this, right? However, you're a champion as well on one of these, a version of this type of superhuman show. It's called The Brain, or like El Super Cerebro, I think it was, in Brazil. Is that correct? In Brazil?
Yes. Yeah. In Brazil, we filmed the Latin American version of The Brain or Superhuman. And I was able to participate. We were 20 contestants for all around Latin American countries, and I was able to be there, and I'm real proud for that. I also had the chance to be in the Superhuman Showdown in London 4 years ago. I was selected. 5 of us were selected out of hundreds of candidates, and I was able to finish in second place. So I'm telling you, I'm very proud of all the journey.
Right, man. It's been incredible, right? Could you have envisioned that when you were in Cuba?
No.
Like being okay, you were doing there. You were making a few dollars here and there a month. You were struggling, but your whole focus was just to do it for the love of learning, right? But now, fast forward several years. Could you have envisioned that you would have been here in America competing all around the world in these shows as well?
No, actually, no. Of course not. And if I follow the same pattern, I can't even envision where I'm going to be in 10 years because it's so much that you have no idea. I think I'm the kind of person that I like to connect the dots forward, not backward. And this is what I mean. I like to just give my best, and I hope that will give me some reward somehow, So that's my advice for everyone. If you want to be successful, just try to do your best, and essentially everything's going to return back to you. I feel successful, in what I do because, I love what I'm doing. As long as I keep doing and I keep doing that, I'm going to be successful my whole life. And that's my plan. That's my plan, being successful. But more than being successful for me, it's pretty much being happy. Successful is just happiness for me.
Happiness. And that's been the theme throughout this entire interview so far is happiness, right? Be happy in what it is that you do, and that's amazing because you're happy, right? Look at the smile on your face, man. It's incredible. So, you are now, an American citizen. You are here. You've been on all these shows. You were recently also on Ellen, right?
Yes. That was a great opportunity.
That
was a great opportunity, Ellen, she likes the show, and she said she likes my part. And she invited me. She invited me to the show. I was able to do the same thing that I did on the Fox show, which is Flash Math, Flash Answer. Yeah. Some people call it Flash Answer. We call it Flash Math. So it's pretty much numbers that are flashing. As I know but for the rest of our audience that is watching us right now, Flash Math is pretty much numbers that are flashing in front of me, like really quick in a matter of seconds. And I have to add all the numbers, add them up. So it's like 25, 87, 18, and I need to add all the numbers and give the answer. I was able to do that on the show, and I was able to do that on Ellen too. And Ellen was impressed. And for me, impressing Ellen is one of the most beautiful, one of the most great things I've done in my life.
Right. That must have been a huge accomplishment, man. Just being there, being next to her as well, and doing your demonstration there. That was pretty amazing, man.
Yeah.
It got shared. Millions of people saw not only like the show when we were on it, but millions of people saw that small clip when Alan shared it. So
she
was
posted
incredible.
this Vine video, and after a few hours, it was 1.3 million. Remember?
Yeah,
Crazy.
That's crazy, man. So people love you. Everybody loves you. So you were on, the show. Now you did the mental calculations. I didn't get to see it because I was, obviously the last one to go. So I didn't see anybody's performance. I really wanted to see yours and everybody else's as well. But when I saw it on TV, I was just like, are you serious? We were talking a little bit backstage, and you were showing me some tricks and some gave me some tips as well. But I didn't actually get to experience it until the show aired. So I was like, wow. I don't know how he didn't really get the trophy, but that was incredible, man. So tell me what goes on in your head when you're adding these numbers up very quickly.
Well, let me tell you something. At the beginning, that was kind of impossible for me. Like, getting the answer of all the numbers that are flashing for milliseconds. Remember, in the show, we did 3 rounds. The first round was 300 milliseconds. Then the second round was 200 milliseconds. And the last round, the lightning round, was 100 milliseconds. So numbers are flashing really fast. You have to, just a blink of an eye takes 100 milliseconds at least, So you can't blink. That's a fact. So at the beginning, I was like, I don't know, I have my doubts. Can I do that? Yeah. But once again, I always prove to myself that if you just want to do something, you actually put the effort to it. If you just put the hours to it, anything is possible. And after a few months of preparation, I was able to get the answers with an accuracy of 50%, 60%. I knew that at least I could do it. And eventually, with more practice, I get to 80, 90%, And in the show, I think I did awesome because I was not sure that I was going to do the 3 attempts successful like I did. Yeah. So just the fact that I did those 3 attempts successfully, I attempted that successfully, that made me proud.
Yeah, and it was huge, man. Everybody was wowed by that, right? And Alan was very wowed by that. She put you on the show. But so when you're adding, do you mind if I give you like just a few numbers, right?
Of course.
So I don't know, 22 plus 35.
Okay, 22 plus 35 would be 57. But the way I do it from left to right. Let me show you. Okay. In a school, they show us to do it from right to left. This is the school way. I'm gonna try to explain you. 35 plus 22. I'm gonna write it here on the paper.
Sure.
In the school, they tell you, okay, 22 plus 35. 2 plus 5, 7. Okay, and 2 plus 3, 5. Right. The answer is 57. If you want to do this mentally, right to left is not the right direction. You have to do left to right. Because normally the way we say the number is 57. We don't say 7 and then the 5. We say the 5 before the 7. Right. So we always recall the number by saying from left to right. So in my case, I do it from left to right. 22 plus 35 would be 20 plus 30 would be 50. It would be 50 what? 22 plus 35, 2 plus 5, 57.
Okay.
So you try to get the answer from left to right. That's the key. Of course, there are some tricks. There are some other tricks that I normally use. Let's say one trick that is very valuable is to use what we call the complements. The complements of a number is like whatever you need to add to get 100. For example, the complement of 98 is 2, right?
Right, yeah.
So, which means that adding 98 is the same as adding 100 and then subtracting 2, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you want to do, just tell me another 2D number, any 2D number. Tell me another one.
51.
51. Okay, let's say we want to do 51 plus 98. 51 plus 98 will be 149. This is why. 51, you take away the 2, which is the complement of 98. 51 minus 2 is 49. So it will be 149. Wow. So using the complements will help you a lot because it's definitely easier, at least for me. I'm pretty sure for most of us, it's easier to subtract 2 than to add 98, in the traditional way. So using the complement, that's very helpful too, but it's essentially a left to right method using complements.
Okay. And then obviously when you first learned this, it wasn't like you could do this in milliseconds, right? It took you, a while to kind of process everything and create your formulas, your algorithms, and then, once you started doing several problems, it got easier and easier. Is that correct?
Yes. The thing is the following. we tend to think when we are watching a show on TV or just as as humans that we are,
Right.
we tend to think that it's just about math, but it's not only about math. It's about all those things that are necessary. For example, in my case, it's about not blinking. It's about being concentrated at all times. If you blink, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
You will miss it. If you're not concentrated, you will not get it. So you need to practice, and the best way to practice something is to do exactly what you're supposed to do. So what I did for the show, I created my own software. I tried to simulate what was going to be on the show.
Right.
I asked them questions like how far am I going to be from the screen, how big are going to be the numbers, and I tried to do the same way at the beginning. Of course, I tried to do it with the computer, but later on I tried to do with like high monitors.
Right.
And having that feeling, of course I do some rehearsal before the show, but having that feeling a priori, like with month before, I was able to master this skill.
Yeah. Okay. So you put in the work. You practiced it. You rehearsed it as if it was gonna happen like that day, probably, right? Like you did.
So it's about finding the best simulation for the problem that you would like to solve. And once you do, just practice, and you do it. In my case, I'm telling you, it's not only about math. It's also about getting the compliments really fast. So one part is about practicing just that. Just practice the compliment. Just tell me 13, 87, 13. You need to start practicing small task first, and then after you get the whole problem, you need to just do it and put some hours on it.
That's interesting because so like for us, the memory people, Ron White, me, and all taught memory. The Nelson, Nelson is a USA champion as well. So we all have our predetermined images for our numbers and pretty much everything else, right? Or the majority of the events that we practice and playing cards and all that. So if you would give us, like before we even learn how to do the memory stuff, memorizing things, if you would give us like a long number, it would have taken us longer to memorize that long number, right? Because we didn't have any predetermined images. But then once we sat down, the hardest part was really just to sit down and create images for every single one of these numbers, right? But now when you give us these numbers, we can easily just store them in a location because we already have these locations. But that's only because we've done it so much. And I'm pretty sure that was the case with you. You did it so much that it just became second nature to you.
And remember, every detail counts. For example, in those memory competitions that you go, one of the events is memorization of cards, right?
Yeah.
You have to memorize a deck of cards which is 52 cards.
Yeah.
You need to have your strategy for memorizing those 52 cards, but you also have to move your fingers in order to pass the cards. So if that movement with your fingers doesn't work for you, you waste time.
Yeah.
So every single detail matters. For example, I have a Guinness World Record doing counting the dates.
Yeah.
I have done 111 counting the dates in 1 minute. What I mean is I calculated 111 dates in 1 minute. The way I do it, I have a software, and pretty much when I click enter, a bunch of days are displayed in front of me. If I think the first day is a Monday, I press 1 on the keyboard. If I think it's a Tuesday, I press 2 on the keyboard. I can't skip any day, so I'm just pressing keys for a minute. And last time I did 111 dates in 1 minute. But again, I have to have a process. I have to speed the process of my brain, telling my fingers what to press. It's also about that stimulus, that all those things.
Yeah.
So it's not only about doing the math in your head. It's also about telling your finger to press the key number 6.
Yeah. For students, that let's say students that don't want to be able to add numbers in milliseconds, like maybe everybody does want to do that, but there's people that just want to say pay attention to their teacher in class, right? Or do well on an exam. How do you think that skill set can translate to somebody in school, and like a student that's trying to just learn their material, their history material, their English, whatever the vocabulary in English classes, biology, whatever the case might be? How do you think that skill can translate to them doing better in class?
In my opinion, it's about really finding what you like.
Yeah.
If you really like something, that will give you the motivation to start. Now, how you start doing something? By focusing on that. In my case, it's counting the dates. Okay, I love numbers. I love dates. Yeah. I want to say the day of the week really quick. Yeah. Okay, so I have this software that pretty much, if I think it's a Monday, I have to press 1. So repeat. Try to do the process. Try to create a process that give you that where you can tell the answer right away.
Okay.
So have the discipline to create strategy. Try to think about what you want. If you really want to be successful at a job doing, I don't know, some chemistry stuff, so you need to pay attention to your chemistry teacher, you know?
Yeah.
So that would be the first step, just the motivation. Now, how you pay attention and how can you be successful? Okay, let's try to see how I do in the test. Oh, I didn't do as good as I thought I could do. Let me ask for feedback. Let me go to my teacher. Let me see what can I do to improve that. Maybe by knowing my teacher, I can actually improve my grades. And I realized that life is also about those details too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not only about being good at chemistry, it's also about being good at relationships.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. And then maybe you find in the middle of all that, you find your passion. But if you wanna be successful, you have to be very disciplined in whatever you do. Whatever it is, doesn't matter if it is numbers, whatever it is, you have to be very disciplined. You have to put effort into it. At least that's the best way.
Yeah.
Some people, maybe they have this super huge talent and they don't need to put effort in, which in my opinion, I doubt it. Because even if you have that talent, I'm pretty sure somehow you're putting some effort on it.
Oh, yeah.
So what is clear to me is that the more effort you put, the more successful you're going to be.
You mentioned something. So you said strategy. That's key, right? Finding your strategy. Everybody's strategy is going to be a little bit different, but for the most part, you find what works for you, and that's going to help you out in the classroom, right? And in life in general. So find your strategy. Now, you said something about, making relationships and being maybe not close to your teacher, but just like getting to know your teacher. That was that was critical. That was critical in my success. After I learned the memory techniques, that was great. I had the tools. I can learn the information quickly at that point. However, what really helped me out also was like being close with my teachers. I would in some cases I had maybe a B+, and that's the memory techniques helped me to get to that B+, but it was really like the relationship that I built with the teacher that gave me the A, right? So that was key. That's key.
I'm telling you, that's the way it is. That's the way it is in real life. We tend to think that IQ, like intelligence coefficient, is a new measure of intelligence. It's not like that. In my opinion, it would be IE, emotional intelligence too, because it's about that. It's about, some people call it karma, some people call it energy, whatever you want to call it. That's very useful. As long as it's positive, it's okay, So life is about being successful, but you also have to deal with other people, and if you can have some good energy, that energy eventually will come back to you.
Exactly.
So make sure it's good.
Having good energy, put it out there, connect with other people, because that's what got you on this show as well. On this show and all the other ones, it wasn't just your abilities. It was your ability to also communicate with the producers, the executives, and also to connect well with the audience. You connect well. You have a powerful story. People love you, right? So, or else you wouldn't keep getting asked to do these shows over and over again. So that's huge. And something that I learned also, like I said, at a young age, or not at a young age, but after learning the memory techniques, because
you're still young.
I'm an old man. So it was because when I was in school, in high school and my early years of college, I didn't really talk to anybody. I was a shy kid. I didn't connect that well also with my teachers. I just kept to myself for the most part, right? But it wasn't until I broke out and I started connecting with others that other opportunities opened. I did better in school. I did better at work. I started being asked to do all these other shows as well. So it's not necessarily always, like you said, high IQ or having a special ability. It's your ability to also connect with others and having social.
Exactly.
So that's powerful.
That energy that you put into people, it will come back to you, and that will give you even more confidence.
Right.
It's going to give you so many rewarding things that you don't want to miss that. So give your best, and you'll see the best will come back to you.
Cool, man. So, let's transition a little bit. You are also, not only are you great at what you do, as far as like being able to calculate things very quickly, math and calendar dates and all that, you're also a great teacher. You're an amazing teacher. I actually learned from you right before doing the show. I'm pretty sure you can remember this. But you're teaching me about your, you have this program also called Hector or something like that.
So it's an app. Yes.
We'll get into that in a moment. But you were telling me about the formulas and using the order of operations to figure these things out. How to pretty much just add a long number into to 100, correct? Yeah. Exactly. So you were teaching me, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, because that's how I kind of use that similar technique to memorize names. I create associations, and I break them apart into different sections, and I create association for a name. So you taught me something there. So I know you're an amazing teacher, and you help contribute to my success even on the show. But talk to me about you as a professor, you as a teacher, you as an individual that loves to give back and share your knowledge with others.
Well, in my opinion, this is the 21st century. The best way to show your skills is by teaching someone else to do it and maybe inspire others to do it.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do my whole day, for the 24 hours, even if when I'm dreaming. I love teaching. I've been teaching since I was at the University of Havana. So I've been teaching for at least, I'm telling you, 14 years right now. And I mean, that's something that's my passion too. So I'm the kind of person, again, that I feel like if I have some knowledge and I can't share that knowledge with anyone else, I'm very limited in that sense. So the more you share, the more spread the knowledge is. Believe me, the more you actually will apport. You will give to the world.
That's true, man.
So essentially that's what I do. I'm very passionate when it comes to math or any subject. What I do, I try to think the way I normally think for numbers, because I know I have this special talent or skill that gave me into this number algorithm. And again, normally what I do is that I just try to think, how would you think that problem if you don't know anything? And then I try to break the problem down into simple pieces, and they're so simple that every time I explain, I get people to understand, or at least to get their attention. And if they don't, I try it again. I'm very patient too. And having that patience and having the knowledge, that will make you way ahead of the top.
Exactly, man. And you have your program. It's called Spicy Math, right?
Spicy Math is our company. It's a tutoring company. We have trained tutors that have been trained, especially in math. We only do math. We don't do other subjects, because that's our specialization. This is our thing, and we're focused mainly on SAT kids. We're trying to help them to get the best universities. We have students that when they come to us, they're scoring below average.
Wow.
And then after a few months, sometimes 1 year, because they want to stay for more, they're in the top 3 nationwide, which is great. So that's our best reward. Put them there. It's something that the good thing about knowledge is that once you reach a level, you will reach the confidence that you need, that piece of confidence that you need to keep going on your own. So we get people that needed our help, and essentially after a few months, they understand they can help themselves from that point forward. And that's our best reward.
So you're creating not only kids that can learn quickly and apply the techniques that you teach them, but you're creating leaders as well. You're creating leaders to, yes, take the techniques, but also go out and, like you said, apply it on their own after that, right? And then some, even when they're leaders, they still come back to you, right? Because even any great leader needs a coach, right? So they come back to you and they want to keep learning from you. So.
In my opinion, when I teach them math, I'm not only teaching them math, I'm teaching them models, at least my models, models that I think they're very valuable in our society. Right. We're teaching them how to be like proactive, good skills that people might want to have. And because if we just reduce ourselves of teaching math, we're not doing a good thing. I think we're doing a good thing when we are pretty much learning and teaching every second, that we're trying to do that.
So that's good, man. Anybody out there that wants to get in contact with him, make sure to go and check that out and connect with Yusnier, because he, like I said, he loves to teach this to others and he creates leaders. So make sure to check him out. I'll post all the links down below. But real quick, just in closing too, let me get into your app. You have this app. I have it on my phone, and I play it on here, and it's very fun. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Explain to me while I'm pulling it up. Explain to people, what the app is about and how to, what are the benefits of using the app?
Okay, so the app is called Hector, and as you can see here, right here. It's www.hector.com. Hector is HECTOC. The app is available on Android. It's also available for iPhone. So yeah, it's gonna be available for 90% of the market, I guess.
Solve this real quick, yeah.
At least the US market.
So tell me how to solve this. Do you see my screen?
Okay, no, I can't see it. What is it? 30. So okay, you have 30056, right? Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Check this out.
Okay, so how would I do this one?
A Hector consists in the following. Let me show you. Hector consists in given 6 digits. We need to add operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division to make an expression which value have to be 100. So the number that you gave me was 300056. What I did, I I included a division sign.
Can you raise it just
here
a slightly bit higher? Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay, let me show you. Let me show you.
It is pretty cool, people. You guys all need to get this app. It's really good, just brain exercise overall.
So check this out. So these are the numbers 3,0,0,0,5,6. If you include a division operator over here and also in here, you have 3,000 divided by 5. 3,000 divided by 5, that will be 600. Mm-hmm. And if we divide that 600 by 6, we get 100.
You won.
The funny thing about this,
correct. You got it right.
The funny thing about this app is that every time you have those 6-digit numbers, by adding addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, you can always manage to get 100 in the expression. And it's an app that is very useful if you want to learn the order of operations. Because as you know, the order of operation is parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication, division, depending on which one comes first, and then addition, subtraction, depending on which one comes first. So some people, unfortunately, they don't know the order of operation. And we created this game, which is fun. So it's not like one of those board games that you don't know what to do or whatever. You feel like I don't know, like instigated. Do I need to do this? Can I skip this part? No, it's one of those games that is actually pretty fun. You get points, you get life, you get hints. When you don't know what to do, you can click in the hint and get some hints. If you don't have more hints, you can actually watch the video and get more hints for that. You get points. So pretty much it's a game, very funny. It's a very fun game, and and again, we invite everyone to play because I think besides having fun, you will learn a lot.
Amazing. Check that out. Again, links will be down below for that. So that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for being on this and for the first episode of Learning Pros. So I'm sure a lot of people out there learned a lot from a professional right here on how to learn.
No, thank you. You are the best. You're a great. Not only you did great in the Superhuman show, you're a great superhuman being. Man. So it makes me proud to be here with you and being the first one in this series.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So
the great success for you, my friend.
I'll definitely see you in Miami soon, or in Florida soon. So, real quick, how can people find you? What's your Facebook, social media accounts, websites? How can?
My Twitter is @mentalcalendar. My Facebook, I think I have like 5,000 friends, so I need to open a new page. But you can actually you can go to my website, spicymath.com. So www.spicymath.com. You can see also the Hector website, www.hector.com, and that will be. I think you have enough information there to reach me. So feel free to do that. And here I am. Anything you need, just count on me.
There it is, people. All right. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to check him out. Remember to go also right here to, I have all the links right there. You can go to my website at aemind.com and I'll post all those links on there as well so you can look for him. Watch the next episode of Learning Pros right here. I have another one called Memory Experts as well. But, check all that out. I'll post all the links on this video and down below so you can learn from other memory and learning pros as well. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
So I think that's part of it. Not so much that I'm so naturally gifted at languages or stuff like that. Mostly that I was just like hanging out with grown-ups all the time. So you kind of have to always fit the environment that you grew up in. Like if everyone's a gangster, it's kind of hard for you not to be a gangster. And not that that was my childhood, but let's say it was. No, and if everyone around you is like way smarter than you, and I'm not hanging out with like boogering